Hi everyone, I'm Carla Rodriguez with UCF Nightly News. Sitting with us today is President-elect Dale Whittaker. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Oh, thank you for having me. You know, this is the first student group that I've met with. I hope that indicates to you how important you are and how important the job that you do on behalf of other students and Student Voice is. And glad to be here. And glad to appreciate your profession, by the way.
Absolutely, thank you. Joining us on stage as well are 4 other UCF media outlets, and we'll go ahead and get right to it. First question for you. We know you're very passionate about engaging with the student body, so what will you do as the president to interact more with the student body and faculty here at UCF?
Oh, great. First of all, let me just say that the students at UCF are uniquely engaged, uniquely influential, and uniquely powerful. So what I mean by that is you have strong student voice. It's represented here from all perspectives. You also have a student trustee that is a voting member, a full participatory member of the Board of Trustees, which is the governing council of the university. And then through student government, you influence not only activities, but tremendous resources and deployment of resources. Very few universities have students that initiate so much and are so important. What I would like to do, and what Mary, my wife, and I would like to do, is engage much more in not only informal settings, but also in those settings for each of the groups to recognize the contributions that you're making. We'll be opening the Burnett House much more for student activities, and look forward to engaging.
Perfect, thank you.
Awesome. It's a pleasure to finally meet you. My name is Paula Guzman. I represent the Nightly Latino community, well, the class. We focus on reporting about the Hispanic community here at UCF. So since UCF is a Hispanic serving institution with a student body of 25% of Latinos and Hispanics, what new projects will UCF be doing to serve the Hispanic community?
First of all, this is something to really celebrate. Not only are we just becoming Hispanic serving institution, which is valuable for everybody, but also we're about to become a minority majority institution, which means that we have more people from underrepresented groups than majority groups. That's a different experience than most students in the United States have. Your news service is an excellent example of the kind of projects that I hope we double down on. One of the goals that I stated during my interview that I would like to have is to become the institution of choice for Latin America, and then an innovation hub here in Orlando for products developed in Latin America for a North American market and for products developed in North America for a Latin American market. So you might think about financial technologies, about entertainment, about engineering technologies, and the development of those for both markets.
My name is Layla Ferris with the Central Florida Focus. So during the presidential finalist forum, you said that building on faculty would be your main focus. What concrete steps do you plan to do that?
Well, let me just mention, Layla, that over the past 4 years in my other role, we've added 320 new additional faculty positions to the faculty that we had, which means that for the first time, well, we have our lowest student to faculty ratio since 2008. We're currently at approximately 1,000 tenure track faculty members. Our goal is to get to 1,200 by 2020. So we will continue growing the faculty with any new resources from the state that we have.
Hello, my name is Caroline Jackson and I'm representing nightnews.com. So after speaking with President Hitt and viewing his role as the Provost here on UCF, what lessons have you learned from him and that you plan to implement in your time as president at UCF, and what do you plan to bring new to the table here?
Let me say 2 lessons probably have to do with character, integrity, and collective wisdom. So one of the things that President Hitt has done remarkably well is identified talented people and kept them engaged with each other, supporting each other's agendas. It's how we've grown so strong, so fast. Some of the things that might be different is you might see me to be more external facing, more engaged on the campus, more engaged with students, more engaged with our stakeholders and the business community, trying to bring more jobs here for our students to take when they leave the campus.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry. My name is Cristobal Reyes. I am the editor-in-chief of NSM Today. And you were asked a question during the interview process regarding concerns with gentrification in the Paramore community as a result of the construction of the downtown campus. And could you further explain what you meant when you said that assimilating that community or integrating that community needs to be done the right way?
Absolutely. Gentrification can happen two ways. One way is organically and the other way is by displacement. The important thing is that the historical Paramore community not be displaced, but that their capacity grows so that they can, you might say, gentrify themselves over a period of time. And let me be very specific. Just this month, the Land Trust was announced. We've been working on this with the Community Foundation in the city for over a year. The Land Trust will take in properties and establish property values so that rent cannot go up faster, for example, than people's wages can go up. So one is keeping living costs stabilized. The second is mixed-use housing. Mixed income housing is now going in. And then the third thing is with our partners with Orange County Public School Technical College and Valencia, we're working on workforce scaffolding programs so that people can increase their hourly wage and their living wage and their path to a career incrementally. In fact, right now there are 40 people studying in our Center for Emerging Media for construction jobs that will take them from no employment or below minimum wage to very good wages on these construction projects we have right now.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
It looks like we have time for a couple more questions. My next question, it seems like during your time here, you've climbed up the ladder, so to say, fairly quickly. And we want to know, in your opinion, what do you owe your success to?
Oh, that's an interesting question. The first thing I would say is a great partner that supports me and listens to me and challenges me and gives me great advice. Probably a level of loving what I do. I think all of us, when we find that one thing that just draws us and drives us, your energy is never depleted. And the mission of lifting lives is something that has always driven me.
Thank you.
As a Hispanic student, I often feel identified with a Latino or Hispanic professor. Will there be any chance with these new projects developing of recruiting Hispanic professors or faculty members to have stronger relationships between faculty members and Hispanic students?
Yes. Let me break your question into two parts. One is more Hispanic faculty, and the second is better relationships between students and their professors. On the first part, we've had a goal since I started of hiring at least 25% of our new faculty from underrepresented groups. In the first year, we didn't do so well, about 5%. In the second year, we did better, 7%, not so great. Last year, we did 20%. I anticipate this year we will hit our goal of 25%. It's not the same as our student population, but it's twice the pipeline. So it's 2 times the number of people coming out with PhDs. So we're working incredibly aggressively, and you'll see in my selection of leadership that we'll be focusing on diversity and inclusion in the university leadership. Sheila Paneras is an excellent example, our brand new Honors College Dean, who's coming from Provost from Austin College in Dallas here in a couple weeks, is an excellent example. We also have a goal that every student will have a high-impact experience before they graduate. And a high-impact experience is a direct relationship with a faculty member. We still have ways to go on that too, so we need a lot of good ideas, but it's a goal that we will achieve.
So as prominent leaders such as John Hitt and UCF Police Chief Richard Berry are leaving this summer around the same time, how do you think that's going to affect the university, both positively or negatively?
You know, anytime outstanding people leave, it's hard, I would say. You know what's coming now behind President Hitt, and Chief Berry's successor is being selected, or searched for and selected as we speak. We have a fantastic police department. The culture that he built of not punitive but educative policing pervades that entire police force. We won't choose someone that doesn't continue those values and culture, but they will, like me, do it in a different way.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. So I know we touched a little bit more on previously about your informal relationship with students, trying to get that one-on-one contact with them. So how do you feel that that's going to relate to speaking with student media? Do you foresee that that will involve us talking to you more about issues at UCF in your coming presidency?
Yeah, and I probably was incomplete in my first response. One of the things I meant to say is it's really hard to be intimate with 65,000 people and available. And so one of the things you'll find me committed to is a social media presence, just so in a sense you can kind of keep up with what I'm doing, and when you want, have the opportunity to tweet back and let me know what you're doing thoughtful. But that doesn't replace the face-to-face. And it is not about photo ops and snaps. It's really about listening and having the time to understand. Your question was, how will that translate to?
Student media.
Student media. I hope that we continue this. This may be a first of something. We'll see how it goes, but I understand your role, both as a critical voice and as a representative voice, and I value it.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
President Trump recently announced that there will be no more negotiations regarding the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals program. And President Hitt, if not last year, then in 2015, signed a letter along with other university presidents standing in affirmation of the program. Would you take the same personal stance as Dr. Hitt? And how do you plan on expanding that stance now that one of the trustees is a DACA student?
First of all, universities are a place for, and especially this university, is a place for everyone. And it's a place for everyone to study freely, to feel safe, to grow, to feel intellectually challenged in a safe environment, not to feel threatened. At the same time, we're also a public university which has to comply with public laws. The letter that President Hitt signed encouraged the extension of the executive order, and I would do exactly the same, and would continue to advocate for the quality of our students and the quality of our experience while following the law as a public institution.
Thank you.
Awesome. We have time for one more round of questions.
Wow.
Yes, sir. My last question for you. Congratulations again. You have big shoes to fill, but while it's your turn, what will you say that as the next leader of UCF is your mission in this next era of leadership?
Let me tell you what my goal is and what my mission is.
Absolutely.
My goal, and I actually think this will happen naturally, is that UCF will become Florida's 21st century preeminent university. And I think that will happen naturally because the preeminent universities of this century will be urban universities. They'll be driven by the people and by the vitality and by the economy of urban areas. So I think we will be Florida's 21st century preeminent university. My mission is to create opportunity to lift and change lives. And it's such a powerful and driving mission because, if, for example, if you were a first generation person, it's not just about you, it's about if you ever have a family or children, their lives will be changed forever. So we're talking about generations of change if we get it right now.
Thank you.
So going back again to the forum in March at the Student Union, a professor asked you about what you would do about the student gap with comprehension and critical thinking skills that he personally thought that his students were lacking. And you responded that you would, as president, you would hire the best provost in the country. Can you tell us a little bit about what we can expect for the next provost, or any timeline or details about that?
Sure, and I'll flesh out more of the answer to that question as well. So we are moving rapidly into an area where access to information is democratized, and pretty soon simplistic thinking will be automated. So transactional type thought will become automated. So in the long past, maybe not so long ago, maybe even 20 years ago, general education was having a common body of knowledge. That body of knowledge you can kind of get no matter, through a cell phone, no matter where you live or what your income status is. So now education is really about how to become much better discoverers of knowledge, creators of knowledge, synthesizers, cultural synthesizers. So the general education of the future and the concept of education of the future is more human even than it was in the past. So, but your question was about Provost. About 2 hours ago, we kicked off the search for the new Provost. And some of the things that I charged the committee with was, number one, focusing on someone that shared our values, that shared the values of economic mobility, that shared the values of discovery, the pursuit of truth, that understood a large and complex institution, that understood an institution with a medical school, an academic health science center, that was willing to be innovative and not stuck in bureaucracy, that was very committed and experienced in inclusion, and focused on value. So you can think about those things. It's easy to create an excellent experience if you can charge the students enough tuition. But we want to make sure that we're not impacting our students' dollar and valuing every dollar that our students have. So we need a provost that thinks that way. So those might be some of the examples. Now, in terms of process, we'll work through that during the summer, building the pool, maybe narrowing it down, but we'll wait till the fall to bring the finalists in so that you and the faculty and the staff can have a chance to help interview those finalists, for the final position.
Thank you.
And we'll find the best provost in the country.
Thank you.
You bet.
I'll wait till you're done.
Thank you.
Going forward, do you have any specific plans or policies in place that you plan to enact that will make UCF a more inclusionary campus for LGBT students, faculty, and staff?
That's a really good question. And what I would tell you is you're going to find that it's one of my wife's strong commitments, and you'll find that it's also one of my commitments. And the need for raising the visibility, the language, the inclusion is because it is not a federally protected and identified class in the same way that many groups of people who we include are. And there are other groups that are also not federal, in a formal way identified. So I think what you're going to see is mainly engagement, voice, recognition, celebration, maybe less policy, unless someone had some good advice.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I realize that you didn't address one part of the question regarding a Board of Trustee member being a DACA student.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll rephrase it. What actions are you prepared to take in the event that the student body president and a Board of Trustee member are at risk of deportation?
I've talked with Jared and about how he feels, and let you have that conversation with him directly about how he feels as being used as an example or representative of that group of students. I'm not going to speak to that for him. As I mentioned before, we welcome everybody and we will follow the law.
Well, I'm sure this is one of many interactions and interviews and conversations you're going to have with student body here at UCF, and so we want to thank you so much for taking the time.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Guys.